The key to wrestling is constant evolution, and this extends to signature moves. Throughout WWE history, several wrestlers have decided to enhance and alter a signature move to cause as much damage as humanly possible to their opponent. Whether it's using a chair or simply using the ring to their advantage, these modifications stand out and will no doubt stand the test of time. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 10 ways WWE wrestlers creatively altered a signature move. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out Wrestlelamia.co.uk and our non-wrestling channel, Incredible. Number 10. RKO onto the apron. The RKO is well established as being one of the most infamous moves of all time. Randy Orton's version of the move has won him numerous world titles, and luckily for Orton, the move continues to maintain popularity despite him using the trademark move for over 2 decades. In 2011, Orton offered a rare modification of the move which was incredibly creative. Orton was competing in a 41-man battle royal on SmackDown, and Orton happened to be one of the last 2 men in the ring alongside The Miz. To eliminate Miz, Orton would perform an RKO, but this wasn't any ordinary RKO, as Orton performed the move on the ring apron. But this wasn't just a brutal variation of an iconic finishing move, it was an excellent tactic to win the match itself. Number 9. Claymore into the ring post. One of the top matches on the WrestleMania 35 card saw Drew McIntyre face off against Roman Reigns. Whilst the match itself wasn't anything special, the build to the WrestleMania showdown featured some compelling moments. On the March 11, 2019 edition of Raw, a brawl would ensue between both men, and this was when McIntyre offered a brand new variation of his Claymore finishing move. Instead of performing a standard Claymore, McIntyre would perform the move on the outside of the ring, so Reigns' head bounced off the ring post. It looked truly sinister and helped push the feud to the next level. Number 8. Samoan drop to the outside. In 2017, the New Day and the Usos took the wrestling world by storm with an acclaimed feud that put the focus back on tag team wrestling. The two decorated teams had a number of high-profile matches, and most of them are gonna be celebrated and studied for years to come. One of their best was their match at SummerSlam 2017. As in a bizarre move, WWE decided to put the match on the pre-show, which was a huge mistake, as the match quite rightly ended up stealing the entire show. There was a ton of notable spots in the match, but the highlight came when the Usos performed a Samoan drop on Xavier Woods on the outside of the ring. Woods would be thrown over the top rope only to be intercepted with a Samoan drop to the floor outside. It was timed to perfection and showed just how well the two incredibly gifted teams worked well together. Number 7. The Glasgow Grin. When Edge returned to WWE in 2020, one of the moves that was a permanent fixture of his moveset was the crossface. Whilst the move is impressive, it was enhanced when Edge decided to go extreme with the move. Whenever Edge is in some kind of gimmick match or he's in a blood feud with a fellow wrestler, Edge will use the leg of a steel chair to modify the crossface. Edge will use a leg and place it across the mouth of his opponent before applying the crossface as usual. It looked incredibly painful, and it's become a staple of Edge's current persona and character. According to Edge during an interview with Sports Illustrated, it was actually Jey Uso who came up with the move, and it was Jey who suggested that Edge should call the move Edge Face, but obviously Edge turned this particular suggestion down. Number 6. Figure 4 onto the ring post. Bret Hart is highly regarded in all aspects of pro wrestling, but perhaps one of his more underrated abilities was his constant ability to evolve established moves. Take for instance his version of the Figure 4 leg lock, which Hart would perform on the ring post. Hart would do this to injure his opponent's legs so that when he would lock on his signature sharpshooter, his opponent would have no option but to tap out. Several wrestlers have tried to replicate this evolution by doing various submission moves on the ring post, but Hart's version of the move will always be the most innovative. Number 5. Armbar with a chair. The match between Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania Backlash 2022 exceeded all expectations. Heading into the match, there was a distinct lack of buzz surrounding another showdown between the two women, but this was mainly because their prior encounter at WrestleMania 38 had failed to garner any fan interest, and the match was passable at best. However, their I Quit rematch was booked to perfection. The finish of the match came when Rousey wrapped a chair around Flair's arm, then proceeded to perform her signature armbar. This made Flair quit, but also in kayfabe broke Flair's arm. This was a genius match finish, which fans were quick to applaud. The spot worked so well because it was so unexpected, and Flair's selling of the spot was absolutely tremendous, as it genuinely looked like Rousey had just broken Flair's arm. Number 4. Yes Lock with a kendo stick. In 2013, Daniel Bryan's popularity truly skyrocketed. Bryan was becoming universally loved by fans, and there was a consistent push to make him a top guy in the company. In the summer of 2013, Bryan entered a feud with Randy Orton, and the two had some excellent television matches that no doubt convinced Vince McMahon that Bryan was somebody he could actually rely on. Their match in June of 2013 featured a unique spot which saw Bryan modify the yes lock by using a kendo stick across Orton's face. This looked great upon execution, and the spot gave Bryan reason to celebrate, as Orton would tap out to the revised yes lock, giving Bryan one of the biggest wins of his career at the time. Number 3. Walls of Jericho on a ladder. The Royal Rumble 2001 featured a memorable card where seemingly every match delivered, but the match of the night was no doubt the ladder match between Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho. As Benoit and Jericho were planning out the match, Benoit had a unique and risky idea. Benoit suggested that Jericho would perform the Walls of Jericho on top of a ladder. Now, Jericho had reservations and doubted that it would work, but amazingly, it was one of the most innovative ladder spots ever devised. The spot received an enormous reaction from the fans when it was delivered, and the fans were quick to praise both talents for delivering something brand new. Jericho has since reused the spot in TLC and Money in the Bank matches, yet the initial spot back in 2001 will always stand out for all the right reasons. Number 2. Alabama Slam onto the apron. A change of the guard was taking place in WWE in October 2015. Female talents such as Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair were taking over the women's division, and the women's division was finally being given the TV time and respect they deserved. Flair in particular was pushed heavily during this time, and she was responsible for taking the Divas title from Nikki Bella at Night of Champions pay-per-view. The two would have a rematch at Hell in a Cell 2015, which was without a doubt their best encounter and featured a number of well-executed spots. Most notably, towards the final portion of the match, Nikki would perform an Alabama Slam on the apron, and the Alabama Slam looked devastating when performed in the ring, never mind on the apron. When the move was performed, there was immediate concern for Flair's welfare, and there was an audible gasp from the live crowd. Luckily, Flair was absolutely fine, as she had taken the dangerous bump correctly. And number 1, curb stomp onto a cinder block. When the Shield disbanded in 2014, Roman Reigns was quickly pushed to the main event scene, whilst Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins entered into a 1v1 feud. This feud wasn't just the best feud of 2014, it showed that WWE that it wasn't just Reigns that was a serious main event player in the company. The matches between Ambrose and Rollins were excellent, and WWE management quickly realized that the two were absolute stars. This would be seen when the duo would main event the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view over Randy Orton and John Cena in a move which surprised yet delighted fans. One of the most iconic spots during their feud took place when Rollins performed a curb stomp onto Ambrose, who went headfirst into the cinder blocks. The spot was delivered perfectly, as the moment Ambrose's head made contact with the blocks, they disintegrated. This was combined with the perfect selling from Ambrose as well as Rollins, who portrayed a sense of disbelief that he had gone through with the extreme spot. But there you have it folks, 10 ways WWE wrestlers creatively altered a signature move. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.